Alright, yo, what's up? So, I've gotten a lot of comments on on a Swordscrew guide, so I'm finally gonna do it. I'm still fairly sick, but I'm okay, I can talk and stuff. Alright. So, first thing you wanna do. Okay, get Swordscrew. Very easy. Not very easy, but it's a weapon, so get it. If you're gonna play 6-3 or 5-3, this really applies to everyone. There's a few things I can give advice about. So first thing, what does Swordscrew do? It's just a second shot, basically. So if you really want to talk about how the weapon's supposed to be implemented, it adds spin to your ball, and it basically changes the direction of where the ball goes when it drops. So if I were to aim it this way, if I were to aim it straight and press R, well, it goes straight, right? So first major tip, the only really real tip I can really give you is that whenever you shoot it, first thing, you gotta be really good at basics. Okay, basic passing is something that you definitely need to use Swordscrew, because if you don't have it, then don't try, because it's not gonna work. By basic passing, I mean, like, where the ball goes or how to aim it, how much power to put. I'll show you. So, power to put the ball there. If I overshoot it and I go, oh no, my bad, like, it's not gonna work. So, you have to be pretty precise with your passes in the first place just to use Swordscrew. So, I'd know the ball would go there, and then if I want to hit the ball over there, wait, fuck, went too far, over there, they're pretty close, right? So as long as you get used to that, and the other thing that you need to get used to or really good at is knowing when the ball is going to drop, or like just receiving, I guess, because that gives you a sense of how the shadow works on the ball, the shadow over here. So to know when to receive or to know when to use your Swordscrew is really, really, really important, right? Because the one thing about Swordscrew that a lot of people don't know is that it has a really small window of iframes, and you're kind of supposed to abuse it. So the window of iframes is when the sword touches, the sword is going down. So when the sword is spawned, you can't M1 it or M2 it. I can hit it because of mine, but yeah, the iframes are pretty good, and you're supposed to use them as much as you can. So now, first things first, okay? What the fuck is Swordscrew? How do you use it? So kick it, you basically kick it, you press R, and the ball goes depending on where your camera's looking when you press R. Okay, so let's say if I were to look left like this, then it would go left, right? Now, if I were to go back, if I look back, well, it comes back to me, right? So this kind of gives Swordscrew a lot of options. That's why it's one of the best weapons. If you look at the tier list video I made, there's a lot of stuff to do with this. Like, you can 1-2 with yourself too, which is pretty good. Like, you kick it back over there, do it forward, and the ball's there. I'm not too good at it, but you get the point, right? I'm only really good at shooting and passing with the Swordscrew. So, oh my days. So what you want to do to practice this is imagine the ball is a second player. Okay, wherever the ball drops is where so over there is a second player. Okay. It's just easier to visualize or get used to Swordscrew like this. So imagine that over there is a second player, or it's you. The person where the ball lands is where you are. Okay? Or you could get a second account in just to practice, like, if it could help. But wherever the ball drops, imagine that you are getting teleported there, and move your camera based on that perspective. So if I were to show you, if I place it there, now at this perspective over here, where it drops over there, the goal is to my left, right? So sharp left. So if I were to do the same thing, I have to look sharp left. Okay. And now if I want the ball to go to this left, but I shoot it over here, that means I'd have to look this way, right? Because the ball lands there, and let's say I'm passing from there, so if I was passing here, I'd have to look that way. So, see? It's completely based on camera, and another thing I can show you is that the speed on your Swordscrew is based on how low your ball is. So if I Swordscrew really, really high, right, it Swordscrews pretty slow. But if I were to hit it over here, it activates almost immediately. Okay, so usually for shooting, what you want to do is you want to be able to wait for the ball to drop as low as you can, and then you hit the Swordscrew. And I don't recommend taking shots in the box with Swordscrew, because Like it's not that good. And if you're like too close, you do this and you press R, it'll sometimes just do that. Like it won't turn because you're not quick enough. So I mean, I don't really know how to replicate it, but I think you get the idea. So if you're in box, just take a normal shot or pass it off or do whatever you want, but don't take a Swordscrew shot in box. I suggest taking it from outside so you can confuse your keeper a little more. And you know, you can go whatever direction you want from outside of box rather than being limited to this. But yeah, next thing I do want to show is when and where to use Swordscrew. So I've seen a lot of people just like force the fuck out of Swordscrew where you see a teammate right there. Let's say the ball's a teammate, right? You see a teammate right there. And they do this and then do this for no reason whatsoever when the teammate's free. Like if there was a person here, if there was a person over there, I don't understand. But I see a lot of people going like this. Oh wait, I'm gonna Swordscrew. Oh wait, I'm gonna Swordscrew. The ball's already landing over there, right? And they still force it by doing this and then going, oh, go forward, go forward. No, don't do that. That's dumb. Only use Swordscrew when you're trying to bait out an enemy towards the ball. Because if you know the enemy's impatient, then you want to be able to go and take advantage of it, right? Now, let's say my teammate over there is marked by someone on the line. So this is someone who's, you know, opponent and marked by them, right? So what I'd want to do is, if they're holding this distance, is I'd want to bait them out a little towards the front, thinking that, oh, pass is short, and then move it that side. So you can also use it to cover distance. Let's say you're playing CDM or you're playing center back, and for some godforsaken reason you have Swordscrew, right? Now you clear it, but you clear it randomly. You don't know where the fuck you put it. You can use Swordscrew to, well, change directions and, you know, hit your teammate, which is also really helpful. But I think Swordscrew excels on 5-3 winger or midfielder. I personally think it's winger because when you're running 5-3 winger, there's a lot of options that are cut off because of your power, right? But Swordscrew has a set power. So your second, so even if you were to use 5-3 power, so let's say this is 5-3 full charge, okay? Even if that was your set power, you can go into box from here by doing this. That's still good enough for box. So when 5-3s don't have options to pass far or switch and they need a midfielder and midfielder's not there, right? You have a lot of accessibility with Swordscrew as a 5-3, and you can also shoot pretty well. Like, it's literally Yukimi's weapon, and he's a winger, so it makes sense, right? Run as a 5-3 if you can run Emp or Formless, or you can't run anything else, and if you find Swordscrew fun, I suggest it. Because as a 5-3, you can cross, right? You can shoot, so let's say 5-3 power. You can shoot like that. That's not gonna happen, but you could. And then there's this twin too, where you act like you're crossing and then put it in the goal. It works. Okay, I've seen it happen. It works in games before, right? Now, a prime example of how people use Swordscrew is like this. They use it to cover distance most of the time because they're like, oh, it's a second pass. And they just end up making it so obvious when they're gonna do it. And a lot of people think that Swordscrew is unblockable. No, it's not. If you predict where it's going or which direction it's going, it's really easy to get. So if I were to do this, if I get it, then it's really easy to intercept. And if they misplace it, if like you misplace it or if the other person misplaces it, it's like a free ass ball. So it's a high risk, high reward. And I think if you're good at it, it's one of the best weapons. But if you're like mediocre, then don't use it until you're really good. Like, I was horrible at it. I remember I was horrendous at it. Because Pierre made a video when it first came out. It's somewhere in the channel. I'll put it up on screen. But I remember making the video, and I was editing it. Pierre made it. I don't know who edited it, you know. I think Pierre edited it. Whatever. But yeah, he was making it. And I was horrendous at Swordscrew. I kept doing that. Or I kept like misplacing, I kept overlooking too much like this. So the only way to really fix that is kind of fuck around as much as you can. Because what I used to do is I used to like do this and then I used to flick it like really far. Like way above how much it's supposed to be, so like that. And I'd end up missing by a lot, or I'd do it too early and I'd hit the post, or like I'd go out. So you gotta be patient, you gotta know what you're doing, and that's how you really use Swordscrew properly. You can also use it with headers, which is really nice. So you header and you can still proc your Swordscrew. I've you know, done a few passes like that, gotten a few goals, it works, but don't overuse it because kind of obvious. Because when you header and you're trying to pass, really easy to intercept unless you do the Swordscrew really early, which, well, doesn't make sense because you don't cover that much distance, right? So, I mean, that's really all there is. Is there anything else I could cover? There's this bug that people use sometimes where you can kind of double bounce it like that. To replicate that, all you really need to do is fling the ball up and look any direction before you sword screw. So look left or right or straight or up or whatever, right? And then you either kick the ball on your own and wait for it to bounce, or you dribble it or do whatever. So as long as it doesn't touch the floor from your sword screw. So if I do this, okay, well I did it wrong, but so if I kick it right side, it will bounce back left because that's the input I gave before, you know, before the ball touched the floor. Okay, so another bug, if you guys are interested, is the stupid goalkeeping bug or like the net bug. Yeah, so it's this one. So you just spam the fuck out of Swordscrew on the net and it stacks. So I think this is enough. Can I even get up there? So I kick it. That's a normal kick. Swordscrew, and it's gone. Yep. You can make it come back to you as well, but I'm not gonna get too much into that. It's just a bug. So, I mean, yeah, that's really all for Swordscrew. Again, small recap. Imagine that where you pass the ball is a second player, or that's where you are, and you want to pass to someone. Use it as like a perspective, right? Practice with perspectives, and you kind of need good ball knowledge or like field knowledge for it to be efficient, kind of. And don't spam Swordscrew for no reason when you know you can pull off a normal pass. Don't try to be fancy. Just, you know, if you're gonna use it, try to trick out people. Try to mix it up a little bit. Because I've seen a lot of people just go high pass like this and then Swordscrew it all the time. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying don't do it all the time because when you mix it up and you don't Swordscrew over here... Oh, what the hell was that pass? But like, when you do this and it like doesn't get Swordscrew, it can go in. And some people expect, like, okay, this is another thing about shooting that I can show you, is whenever you spam Swordscrew, which is what I do for shots. It's what I do for shots. I just spam Swordscrew. And then eventually, once the GK is like, oh, he's gonna Swordscrew, I just do this. It goes in, it works. I've done it against like a lot of people. Go. But yeah, that's really all for the Swordscrew guide. If you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I will make sure to answer them, hopefully. I'm still sick, so you gotta give me some time, yeah? But yeah, that's all for Swordscrew. I will do something else, maybe like direct shot or defending, I'll see. Or maybe a GK guide, I have no clue. I think Pure has something he's uploading, I don't know. But yeah, I gotta make thumbnail for his video too, so... I don't know when this will be out, but it should be out in a few days of recording, which is good. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Enough yapping. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.